hitchhiker, the entity. As I drove through the winding country roads, the rhythmic hum of the engine, the only sound cutting the silence, the full moon cast an otherworldly light on everything in my path. Shadows seemed to stir and morph around me, zipping past just outside my line of sight. In the distance, a solitary figure, thumb extended, a mere silhouette against the moonlit expanse. My heart pulsed with uncertainty, and I felt a chill in my bones, which could have been a result of the brisk air. Despite this feeling, I decided to pull over. I stopped the car and placed the gear in park. The man's whisper of a voice thanked me. I asked the man where he was headed, and he told me just a few miles. As he settled into the back seat, an ominous stillness descended upon the car. The man's presence seemed to cast a darkness that distorted the moonlight. A feeling of wrongness gnawed at my chest, but I pushed aside my misgivings, convinced it was mere paranoia. I placed the gear in drive and continued down the dark road. I was driving at a steady pace, in an attempt to make my passenger's journey more comfortable, when I noticed his constant readjusting. I was hoping that this guy was not some kind of pervert or addict. I asked him if he was okay, in an attempt to mask my unease. He just moaned as the shadows repositioned, concealing his face. A face that I honestly could not recall. The moaning increased, the air thickened, and a suffocating weight pressed down on me. The man almost immediately stopped moaning. He then leaned forward in his seat. His head was right next to mine, and he turned to face me. He had no eyes, just empty black sockets. He opened his mouth and a slimy black tendril revealed itself. Panic surged through me like a tidal wave, and my instincts screamed for escape, but I was unable to move or break free. It was as if my body was under his control. Just then, multiple black tendrils poured out from his mouth onto my body, wrapping around my arms and legs, as the biggest of the bunch slithered up towards my neck. I had a brief thought that this was to be my end, that I would just be a random news story about a missing person, and the only thing left would be my abandoned car on the empty road. His voice, now distorted, reverberated through my mind, creating weird imagery. He commanded me to stop the car. I slammed on the brakes, and the vehicle screeched to a halt on the desolate road. He shrieked, causing my ears to ring. His tendrils retreated back into his mouth like spaghetti noodles, and he recoiled from me. The back door flung open. He slithered out like a serpent, leaving behind a suffocating aura that clung to the car like a sinister mist. My hands trembled as I gripped the steering wheel, my breaths shallow and ragged. The shadowy figure dissolved into the moon's ethereal glow. After what seemed like an eternity, I gathered my wits and drove away. A serpentine fear coiled in my chest. Thoughts raced through my mind, a cacophony of terror and confusion. Something primal warned me. This encounter wasn't a mere brush with the unknown. It was a plunge into a realm beyond comprehension. 6 days had passed since I encountered the hitchhiker, but the memory continued to haunt me. It left an indelible mark on my mind and caused me many recurring nightmares. I wanted to just forget it all, but I could not let it go. I decided to conduct some research to find an explanation. I discovered 7 stories featuring a malevolent entity who preyed on unsuspecting travelers. 6 of the 7 were discovered as only empty husks. There was one survivor, a man who spoke of a hitchhiker and black tendrils. The man had cancer. Of course he was ridiculed, but his information led me to believe that perhaps the hitchhiker's departure was thwarted by an illness that I was unaware of. a sickness that deemed me unfit for consumption, a sickness that ironically saved me. I had some blood work done and only time will tell. My encounter taught me that not everything that seeks refuge in the night is a lost soul, but some may be harbingers of darkness that prowl in the unseen realms, waiting to claim the unsuspecting. It left me with a clear understanding that behind every shadow lurks the potential for unspeakable horror.